Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to cut this beautiful stylish asymmetric blouse with structured and curves at the hair part. If this is something you're interested to learn, keep on watching and let's get started. Welcome back guys. So the first thing I did was to come down by 9.5 inch. I also mark 12.5 inch, then 15 inch, and also the length of my blouse. So I marked 25 inch for the length. This is not the actual length I want for this blouse, okay? But I'll just leave it at 25 inch. I'll still reduce it later at the side. So after making my point, I'll rule out a straight line across using the point I marked. Then after that, I'll go ahead and label. The first line was my bust point, second line under bust, the third line was the waistline, the last line was my full length of the blouse. Okay, from the bust point line I went up by 2 inch, and I'll use my ruler to connect a straight line, so this will serve as my chest line. I have labeled. So the next thing I want to do is to take my shoulder measurement. So I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and do the same thing on the chest line. I will connect the 2 points like so. Then I'm also going to come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope, then 3 inch for my neck width, and I will connect my shoulder slope to the neck width like so. Okay, so the next thing is to mark 3 inch for the neck depth, and I'll use my curve ruler to connect my round neckline. So this is for a guide. I'm not making use of this neckline. At the armhole line, you will divide what you have there, mark the midpoint, go in by half inch, then mark quarter of your bust circumference on the chest line. Use your curved ruler to connect the three dots to give you your armhole curve, just like so. I'll label as shoulder line. Next thing I want to do is to mark half of my nipple to nipple on the chest line, at the waistline, and at the full length. So I'll use my ruler to connect those points to give me a straight line. Okay, just like this. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to mark half inch on both sides of the under bust, do the same on the waistline, and do the same thing at the full length of the blouse. Then I also connect them in a straight line from the under bust down to the full length of my blouse. Do you get? Then I'll use my curve ruler to connect my cup from the bust point to my under bust, just like this. All right, so the next thing you want to do now is to tighten the over bust. So I will mark half inch on both sides, then I will connect to the bust point just like so in a slant manner. Okay, so I'm using a boosted pattern to draft this blouse. Now that I'm done with this, I am going to mark my measurement. So I replace the 1 inch for that take after marking quarter of my bust circumference plus 1.58 for seam allowance. Then on the waistline, I marked quarter of the waist measurement plus 1.5 seam allowance. Then I also replaced that at the full length. I marked quarter of my hips measurement, 1.5 inch for seam allowance, and also replaced that. So I'll just connect my shape like so. Okay, so after connecting, guys, this was what I had. Can you see? So the next thing I want to do now is to make my waist cinching. That is my waist notch. Do you get? So I'll measure what I have on the waistline. Then I'll mark the midpoint. I'll use it to make a straight line. Just connect from the armhole line down to the full length in a straight line like so. Then I want to subtract half inch on both sides. Okay, so I'll use the half an inch on both sides for the waist cinching. Okay, so from the full length from the bottom part I came up by 3 inch, then I will connect the half inch on both sides to that point. Then from the under bust I will connect to the waistline just like this. So I'm just removing this 1 inch. It is 1 inch in total, it is 1 inch in total, so I'll just remove it. I'll use it for the waist cinching. Do the same thing for the back as well. Okay, so now that I'm done with all of this, I'll just go ahead and cut the shape and also cut the excess I have at the bottom part of this pattern, and also cut the neckline. After cutting, guys, this is what I have. Next thing I want to do is to transfer everything I have on the other side to this other side. Okay, so from the shoulder I will come down by my bust point, under bust, the waistline. Then I'll use my ruler to connect all those lines. Okay, so whatever I have on the other side, I'm going to transfer everything to this other side. So after that, I had to label. Then I'm just going to connect everything I have there, just transfer them to this side. You get? So I'll just leave you guys to watch what I'm doing here.
Messing with my head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels they come and go, and they come so easily.
I'm done doing that. So after transferring on the other side, you can see what I have here. So now I want to choose the side that I want the structure to be. So you're going to label, I'll label here as the right side and I'll label the other side as the left side so I don't get confused. So the right side is where the curve is going to be, like the structure. Okay, the right side is where the structure will be. So from the shoulder, I will come down from the shoulder of the left side. I came down by 5.5 inch. You can also maintain the chest line if you want. So on this other side, on the right side of the shoulder, you are going to determine how much long you want the structure to be. So I came down by 2.5 inch. You can also mark 2 inch or even 1.5 or even 1 inch. Okay, it depends on what you want. Do you get? So after marking the 2.5, I'm going to place my curve rule just like so. Then I will connect from the center front line to that point where I marked 5.5 inch on the left side, and I'll place my curve ruler again like so. Then I'm going to connect from the right side to the center front. Okay, just this way. So you can decide to go down a little bit on the right side if you want. So I just want to go down just a little bit. You get? And I will connect to that point. Can you see what I did here? So it all depends on what you want. You can actually maintain the chest line of the left side. Okay, so the next thing I did was to extend the overbust tightening I have on the right side. I will just extend it to that point. Then I will do the same thing on the other side as well. You get? I just want to avoid caping on the neckline side. You get? So now that I'm done with this, I'm going to fold my pattern again to make the curve we have at the hem part. Okay, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned of not wanting my length at 25 inch. The reason why I even marked 25 inch at the first place is because of the center front. Okay, you can see how the center front is. So that's why I marked the 25 inch. But on the side, I came up by 3 inch. I also did the same thing on the that leg, that is on the waist cinching side. I did the same thing. So I had to connect from the center front. You can see how I'm connecting this from center front to that side. So now this gave me a different curve. Do you get? Because of my choice of curve and what I do want. Do you get? So if you're making this blouse and you want your length at the exact 25 inch, what you will do is to come up by 3 inch on your waist cinching that leg. That's the exact point you will need to mark the 3 inch. Then when you mark the 3 inch, you're going to connect it to your full length. You connect from the center front to the 3 inch and then to your full length. So the curve will go like this. Just watch my drawing. So you should draw it like so. If you want it at 25 inch, go ahead and draw like so. You get? So now that I'm done with this, next thing I want to do is to close my dart. Okay, you can see when I close the dart, I don't have the curves again at the same line. You get? So what I want to do now is to use my curve rule to align the both lines together. Okay, so this is very important. So to avoid any form of excesses, just go ahead and when you fold your dart, like when you close up your dart like so, go ahead and reconnect your lines. Do you get? So I'll just do that, then I'll connect to that point just like this. Do you get? So after the curve, next thing I want to do is to come down by 2 inch on the bust point. Okay, so this is for bust dart. So I'm going to connect to the bust point like so. So do the same thing to yours. You're going to know the correct inches for your bust dart. You are going to use the difference between your front half length and back half length. The example is here on the screen. Do you get? So I'm going to slash the bust dart, and also I'm going to slash the half of nipple to nipple that I already marked. Then I'll close up the bust dart like so, and after closing you can see the line has shifted again, so I'm just going to align. Okay, then I'll go ahead now to cut this pattern. Just watch what I'm doing here. So you're going to cut, then when you get to this point, you're going to leave quarter of an inch space. Okay, don't cut everything out, because if you cut everything out, it's going to affect the neckline. So when you stop at that point, just open your pattern, then you cut the neckline like so. After cutting the neckline, then you can go ahead now to cut out every other thing, just like so. Then once you are done with that, close up your dart. Okay, so I'll use my pin to close up my dart. So when you sew or join your pieces, you will have it looking like so. Okay, but first I'm going to just close up the pattern. I mean, you should close your bust dart. Okay, just hold it with pin or your sellotape. So when you join, you're going to have it looking like this. When you join the front piece, you will have your front piece looking like this. You can see. So the next thing I want to do now is to cut out the rest of the that. Okay, so if you're cutting, just secure the bust that, secure any opening that is at the bust that, just secure everything. So I'll also align this other side, align like so. Then I'll just go ahead and cut everything out. Okay, so after cutting, I'll go ahead and label, but before I label, I'm going to just arrange my patterns in place. Then I'll just go ahead and label. I hope you're getting this tutorial very well. Like I hope you understand everything I'm saying here. If you're confused in any way, kindly let me know in the comment section. So I'll just label our center front one, side front two, side front three. Then I also give arrows on how to join them. Do the same thing on this other side, side front two and side front three. Give directions or arrows on how to join them. Okay, so my front pattern paper is set. I'm going to cut the back pattern paper. So for the back pattern paper, I have already drafted out or marked out the basic line. So this is my chest line, my waistline, and full length, which is 25 inch. I also labeled, so I have marked half of my shoulder measurement and the armhole curve, and also 1.5 inch for the neck depth is not necessary, guys. So I am going to mark half of my nipple to nipple again, which is 3.5 on the center front. Place your tape, then mark half of your nipple to nipple. Then I'll just connect like so. Then from the chest line, I came down by 1 inch, and I had to subtract half inch on both sides of the waistline. And on the full length, I'll go up by 3 inch. Then I'm going to connect in a slant manner, just like this. Do you get? So after connecting, the next you want to do now is to take your body measurement. So I'm going to mark quarter of my bust circumference. I don't have any dots there, so I'll just mark 1.5 inch for seam allowance. On the waistline, I'll mark quarter of my waist circumference, then replace the dot and also mark 1.5 inch for seam allowance. At the full length, you mark quarter of your hip circumference. There is no dot there, so I'll just put 1.5 inch for my seam allowance. Then I'll just connect the shapes like so. I'll use my curve rule to get the hip curve just this way. Okay, so now that I'm done with this, the next thing you want to do now is to make a waist cinching, just like we did at the front piece. So you measure what you have there, mark the midpoint, use it to make a straight line, just like this, and subtract half inch on both sides, and also go down by 1 inch on the chest line. You come down by 1 inch, then go ahead and connect like so. Do you get? So at the full length, you're also going to go up again by 3 inch, then go ahead and connect in a slant manner from the waistline to that point. Okay, so now that I'm done with this, guys, you can see what I have here. So the next thing I want to do is to mark my lacing bar. So from the center back, I will go in by 2 inch. Remember, it's on a fold. So when I open my pattern, I have 4 inch. I will have 4 inch already removed. Okay. So I'll just connect a straight line and I'll label as lacing bar. You can also mark 3 inch. Depends on how open you want it to be. Okay. So I marked 5.5 inch, just like we did at the front pattern, but this isn't necessary. I also came down here by 1 inch on the back neckline. This isn't necessary. Do you get? So I just mark it like so. Then on the full length, remember I came up by 3 inch on the other pattern. Okay, then I also mark it on this other side. Remember I said I don't want my blouse at 25 inch. The reason why I marked the 25 inch before was just to get the center front, that curve at the center front. You can see how the shape looks like. So I just want to get the curve, and I want it at least a little bit long. So that's why I marked the 25 inch. You get, I've already explained. So next you want to do now is to get your front pattern paper, the one you wrote side front 3. Get the front side 3 of your front pattern paper and place exactly at the waistline of your back pattern. So after placing, guys, this was what I had. So because I took out 2 inch for bust darts at the front pattern, after aligning, you can see I still have excesses. Okay, so what I did was to go down from the chest line by that 2 inch I took out. That means I'm removing extra 2 inch from the chest line. So I'll just place the pattern exactly at the waistline to waistline, and you can see the point it stopped. So what I want to do is to trace the hem part of my front pattern. I'll trace it to the back pattern as well. Then I also note the chest line of the front pattern. I'll just note it like so. Then from that point, I'm going to make a straight line. So that line I marked now will serve as my neckline for the back pattern. So after that, I went ahead now to cut it out. Cut from your neckline and also cut the hem. So after cutting, I'll place back my side front 3. You can see they both align now after cutting. So I will just keep that aside, and I will cut out the lacing bar and also cut the rest of my dart. After cutting all these darts, what I will do is to label. Okay, so I labeled here as center back 1. Give directions on how to join them just like I did. Then side back 2, also give direction as well. Side back 3, give direction as well. So I have my 3 patterns here, and these dots will serve as where the loops will be sitting. You get. So why I have only 3 pieces here is because my back pattern paper was not on a fold. So this is the front pattern. I'll just place all these patterns on the table. So after placing, guys, you can see what I have here. So this is me arranging my patterns. So if you are making this dress, just transfer all this pattern to your actual fabric and also add your half an inch stitching allowance. Make sure you have your ridgeline boning or plastic boning, so use it to create the structure. Thank you for watching.